And before we start off, we can just talk about a little bit the basics. Actually, Briguy's getting started on his own. In this prologue chapter, you're just going to notice them hopping along here, just ever so slightly faster than walking. Briguy there with a tough prologue death. Happens to the best of us. And then another important thing to note is that we're using in-game time, not real time. So just because a runner is behind in real time does not mean that doesn't mean they're actually behind. Focus on that in-game time.
Yeah, prologue's a pretty chill chapter. You just hop around for 40 seconds, and it's kind of a nice way to get you settled in for the rest of the run, which is going to be just fast-paced, action-packed. So, kind of nice to have that moment to collect yourself before the race begins in earnest.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It can throw you off a little bit when you're, just jumping along. Maybe you expect to have a dash, so can result in a few deaths. Doesn't happen often, but often enough to be frustrating. But runners here are gonna start up on their chapter ones as we're gonna sync up the in-game time. It appears. And so this is chapter one. This is where you're going to see basically every single movement mechanic. The game doesn't hold anything back. It might not directly teach it to you, but you're going to see their dashes. They're going to do dashes into walls, wall bounces. They're going to be doing what's a down diagonal, hypers. They're going to try to get those to where that they can have their dash after those hypers. So extended dashes. All these kind of tricks, they're just going to use them to their advantage, gets them right off of the start.
Yeah, and you can see, just like from the first 30 seconds of this chapter, like we're already using like all the movement tech that we know from this game.
Yeah, and Realtyz right now, a little bit ahead, a couple screens of Wormham already, but this chapter is one of them that is... even if you're going much faster than your opponent, maybe you'll gain 10 seconds on him. So, there, Wormham not getting that, not being where he wanted to be. It looks like he got that wave dash, but didn't quite get the position where he wanted to be to fully complete it.
And meanwhile, on the top race here, Mickeynow had a little bit of trouble setting up that spike jump, so that allowed Briguy the chance to catch up. So Briguy's just a screen behind Mickeynow at this point, with a little bit of a cleaner chapter. I think a little bit of a safer chapter, but still, and just like that, I guess, really quick commentator curse there.
Yep, and Realtyz, they're having a similar problem, not getting the neutral jumps and allowing Wormham to maybe come back, but Wormham actually having the same issue. It looks like they're wanting to do an up dash, but did a diagonal, but still not behind too much. It looks like it's behind by 10 seconds, or actually, I'm not sure. I looked at the wrong timer, but still not far behind, as Realtyz there in Chapter 2, along with Mickeynow.
Yeah, and Chapter 2 is another pretty basic chapter, like, just more hyper dashes and extended dashes. And we also get introduced to the stream block mechanic, where you kind of shoot through these squishy little boxes with the speed of a dash. So we'll just kind of see them like use these dream blocks to great effect in the later stages of this chapter.
Yep, and you do, so when you're going through those blocks, it's as fast as a dash, as you sort of explained. You can hyper out of them. It's just very precise. I don't know if we'll see any of these runners go for it, but be interesting to see if they do.
I think the dream block hypers are something you more commonly see in Chapter 7, where you have like a lot more space, but we'll kind of explain that when we get there.
Yep. Yeah, right now, most of the runners there on the battle line section, so she's going to chase you from about 3 seconds behind you, your exact movement pattern. Most of these rooms, it's not going to be an issue because of the way that the runners lay out their pattern. But there's going to be one room in particular, the one that Mickeynow is going into, where it can cause some trouble if you slip up a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like Mickeynow got through that without a hitch, so that's really nice. That's one of the longest rooms in this chapter, and dying there, especially near the end, is kind of a really big time loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Realtyz also getting out of that one without a problem. So this point of the chapter that they're at is one of the more technical ones. There's no real spikes or enemies. There's only a couple ways to really die in it. So you're just going to see a lot of hypers and bunny hopping and all of that to maintain momentum.
Yeah, this is one of those sections where even though there's nothing that can actually hurt you, you can still hurt yourself if you just move through it a little less clean than you'd like to, running into corners or running into walls. But I think all of our runners kind of getting through it pretty easily.
Yep, absolutely. Realtyz finishing up chapter 4 there. Wormham not too far behind him. He's gonna have to get through that section just one more time after he skips this cutscene. So probably it looks like a 20 or so second lead right now by Realtyz, but especially going into chapter 3, this is where the game starts getting really tough with those dust bunny cycles. Your movement tricks start being more precise. So really that's where it starts. No lead is necessarily safe.
Yeah, chapter 3 can be the first major point of divergence in one of these races, simply because moving through these cycles, as you can see Mickeynow kind of getting through these pretty cleanly, it's very difficult, kind of have to not only memorize them, but move quickly through them. So, this really separates a really good runner from a very good runner.
Yeah, very well put. So Realtyz training. Oh, he does grab the strawberry. One of my favorite things is in any percent strawberry. You don't technically need any, but hey, I love to see him.
Yeah, this is any percent. You can grab all the strawberries you want.
Exactly. Yeah, Wormham grabbing the same strawberry as well. So on the unofficial race on the bottom of strawberries, they're tied 1-1. So going to be exciting to see this part of the race that isn't actually a part of the race.
Yeah, we'll see who gets the most strawberries, as we also see Mickeynow making his way through the first huge mess section. Just going to be cleaning up Oshiro. We've kind of routed this section out so that for optimization. If you want to explain that a little.
Getting through this huge mess section. Really, you're going to see all the runners take the same exact route in this. They're going to go from the bottom section to the top to the middle, just because that's where Oshiro is going to be closest to when you leave each of these sections. So they're just going to go through each room. There's, I believe, 5 or 6 rooms on each of them. But yeah, despite it not necessarily mattering which route they go, they're all going to take the same one. And right there you saw Realtyz do what's referred to as a spike jump. Although the name makes it seem like you are jumping off spikes, you're actually jumping off the wall behind it. The game, if you're jumping away from the way the spikes are pointing, aren't actually going to hurt you. So you can use that to your advantage to jump off of several walls to save plenty of time. Top level runners have several areas in which they use for that. We'll see what the runners today use. They still have pretty good PBs. Anything in the low 40s, you're gonna have to be using some good strats, but we'll see what they use in terms of spike jumps.
And it's always interesting with these races to kind of see what strategy each runner uses. Every runner kind of brings their own mix of what they want to use and what they are kind of still a little bit intimidated by to the game. So it's really cool to see these different play styles kind of doing the same thing.
Yep, absolutely. I know watching one of Briguy77's past races, he seemed he wasn't going slow, he's going very consistent, but he wasn't going through any of those riskier strats. Even though he's got a pretty good PB, it seems like, and I'm not sure, it seems like maybe he's been doing a little bit more riskier strats today, but it just seems like in this, it's just as important to not die as it is to go fast. And I mean, in a way, going fast is not dying, so.
Yeah, indeed. It's kind of weird how some of the speed strats in this game oddly make some of these sections a little bit safer.
Oh yeah, that's very true. So Realtyz there finishing up the huge mess section. Wormham looks like he's one section of that behind him. He's still got to go through that middle section. So Realtyz getting a little bit of a gap there, looking to maybe break away early on here. Nice save by Realtyz. Looks like he accidentally used his dash a little early, but was able to save it. So props to him for that save.
And meanwhile, Mickeynow is through that hyperdash room. He's almost near the end of the elevator shaft section of Celestial Resort. And, you know, coming into this race, I think he had a PB of 3.5 minutes behind Briguy,
Yep.
but he is not playing like it right now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The same thing is that I would have expected this one to be much closer. Taking a rough death there by Mickey, but we'll see. Maybe Briguy didn't have his best start. I know he did have that death on prologue, so maybe just not feeling it a little bit today, and maybe Mickey can pull out a win. This is actually very important for them because they're really both trying for that 4th seed, so every single win is important for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's still plenty of time for, you know, maybe this is just a strong level for Mickeynow and Briguy can make up some time in a different chapter.
Yep, especially he's on that Oshiro section, which there's sections of that where if you just don't do well on, can lose a lot of time. As Realtyz here at the bottom, also joining him in Oshiro. So he's just going to dash behind you, telegraphs it with that sort of, I guess, lightning strike. You're just going to try to get through the rooms as fast as possible. They're going to try to sort of manipulate when he dashes by having a certain pattern through that room. The tough thing can be if you ever slip up on this, Oshiro is now on a slightly different pattern, and if you're not used to it, can trip you up majorly.
And Briguy had a really solid start to his Oshiro section. If he was taking it slow, maybe during some of the early parts of Resort, he's obviously learned a few of the speed strats for this part of the chapter.
Yeah, absolutely. Realtyz there at the beginning decides to retry on this. So one thing to note is that the cycles are just slightly different if you are on a death cycle compared to first going in. So some runners will try to retry.
So now on the race on the top here, we have Briguy on the last screen of the Oshiro section, and Mickeynow starting the Golden Ridge chapter. Now, Golden Ridge is kind of a weird chapter where there's not really like one huge, I mean, it's kind of like emblematic of the whole game, where there's not like one big trick that saves you a ton of time. There's just like 1,000 little tricks that save you like a second here and there, but if you fail any of them, you kind of lose a whole bunch of time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those sections where I find it tough to say that it is one of the quicker ones, but it's just one of them where your strategies really have to work out, because that wind can just completely destroy what you think you were going to do there. Just one simple mistake and your room's completely messed up. Ooh, Wormham there taking a tough death there on the end of this last Oshiro room. I find this last room of Oshiro can be tough because if you're not 100% comfortable with the strat that you're using, you can want to go fast, but it's riskier to go fast as he gets through that. It can actually waste you time if you sort of go through riskier strats that you haven't necessarily practiced, just because one small slip up can just destroy any plans that you had.
Yeah, especially in that room where, like, if you die pretty late in that room, you can lose like 10-15 seconds, but he got through it, and now everyone's over on chapter 4.
Yeah, one thing to note in this bottom race, it looks like Realtyz took a little bit of a break in between chapters. That's fine. Again, we go by in-game time. It was 10 seconds or so, but if you see that Wormham, it looks like he might be a couple rooms behind. It's actually Realtyz has a little bit larger of a lead, just based off of the in-game time being a little bit not synced up. So just keep that in mind as you watch it.
I think according to tournament rules, you get like up to 90 seconds between chapters to kind of like, rest your hands a little bit, take a drink of water if you need to, just kind of like, collect your bearings.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, especially if you're just doing a non-race setting. You can really rest in between this, but since it is a race, a small break doesn't really matter, just as long as you're not sort of being rude to your opponent by taking very long breaks. But enough to just get your bearings back, get settled. It's not a problem at all.
It looks like Mickeynow is our first runner into the harsh wind section of Golden Ridge, where basically the only way you can really move through these rooms is by dashing, and kind of threads the needle between the ground and the orb there, but he's through that room now.
Yeah, and this heavy wind section can be a pain to deal with. You basically are not moving unless you're dashing. If it's going against you. Oh, I think I saw Mickeynow there get a swagberry. So very nice for him there.
And now we have Briguy and Realtyz in the Harshwind section. We also have these snowballs that they kind of move like Oshiros from right to left. Like they kind of track your vertical position, but there's no warning on like when they're going to come. You just kind of have to like hope that your inputs are such that like you're getting a pattern that you remember.
Yep, exactly. It's just one of those where if you mess up slightly, especially when you're nearing sort of the end of it, those snowballs then just have less distance, so you have less time to react. Can trip you up a ton if you're just not prepared for what cycle it's going to be on. So Realtyz here on the final screen, looking to join Mickeynow there in Chapter 5, and does. Pretty respectable time in the low 15s.
And we get double swagberry in our top race, which is definitely cool. And Briguy and Realtyz are going to be joining Mickeynow in Chapter 5.
Yeah, Wormham just a few screens to go. He is just now in that heavy wind section. One thing about this game is it does have pretty much, I think every song is a great song, but this one is definitely going to be one of my favorites, at least of the songs that are heard during an any % run.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you. It's one of the more underrated songs on this soundtrack, I've kind of noticed.
We're going to switch over audio really quick to Mickey.
Yeah, so this chapter that we're in, Mirror Temple, it's kind of like one of the weirder chapters, because like the first half of the chapter is like this really cool movement. There's like a really cool skip that I think you saw Mickeynow go for, and then we're getting into this unraveling section that Mickeynow's in, where we are introduced to the Seekers, which will kind of hunt us down. Like, so they kind of feel like they're RNG, but they're actually AI, so we can kind of predict where they're going to move, but sometimes they just have a mind of their own,
Yeah, absolutely. One thing you will notice is that they are going to use those Seekers to their advantage. There's those buttons that they have to press. They're going to try to jump on top of those so that they can hit the button, or just make the Seeker dash towards you so they can hit the button in there while they're dashing. So we'll see how many of their strats involve doing that. Wormham here on the final screen of Chapter 4. Just a couple more to go. We'll see if he gets it. Ooh, just misses it. But was in the path of the strawberry, so makes that death all the more sad in my opinion. Yeah, messing up a couple times on that final jump. Can be a pretty tough one. This is allowing Realtyz there on the bottom race to get a pretty good lead. Hit by at least 2 minutes there.
I mean, I respect him going for the strawberry. You know, PBs are temporary, swag lasts forever.
For sure. I don't know if he was really going for it on that one as much as it just was coincidentally in the way, but still, I say you got to go for it, you know?
I gotta agree with you there, yeah. Okay, so Mickeynow is through the search section, and we'll come up on search. We'll probably discuss search skip when Briguy and Realtyz are here, but now we're in the Theo section, and Theo is one of the more interesting sections of any chapter in the game, so because like you have this glass man that you have to throw across the screen, so you can't dash while you're holding Theo, so you kind of have to like you kind of have to throw him, dash, and then catch him in midair to kind of retain your momentum to get through these screens quickly.
Yep, and you're going to see a lot of chaining of throwing Theo, dashing, maintaining that momentum. You can get some really crazy speed buildup if you do everything right, but can be sort of tough to master, especially with these seekers chasing behind you, as well as it being a little bit different than most of your speed tech through the rest of the game. So right here, Realtyz on search skip. He's going to just do a messes up the first time. Can be a little bit tough. You're just going to do a reverse dash there against that wall. What you need to do, as you saw right there, he wasn't able to get, is retain your dash after you do it. That way you can do another diagonal dash, grab that wall, and skips about 2 minutes or so. It's a lot of time. Gets it there, third try. Not bad. Again, that is a pretty tough skip to get. Definitely somewhat precise.
Yeah, when we say it saves 2 minutes, like the sections that you're skipping are pretty tough, and this is a game that like you're going to die 2 minutes, like doing that room optimally, but realistically, you're probably saving yourself like 2.5, 3 minutes by doing that one skip. So very good to learn that. That's the first thing that you want to learn if you want to run this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot imagine going through having to know exactly where those keys are to grab, because you need 2 keys and then to go to a red bubble to get yourself along there. Yeah, Realtyz is really moving at a really good pace through this mirror temple. Didn't necessarily have a great search skip, again having 3 tries, but at the same time, it looks like a lot of these he's getting some of the strats down. Maybe not perfect screens, but still doing a pretty good job. Pretty impressive. As Wormham is on the seeker section. Realtyz there just sort of got trapped by that seeker. That there was that door there. If he dashed, it seemed like that seeker would have gotten him. Sort of was a sitting duck there, but gonna get through that the second time.
Yeah, and something similar happened to Briguy, where he was kind of dashing, the seeker just caught up to him, but like luckily he was right on top of the seeker and got the bop. Yeah, one thing that Mirror Temple does, like this is what the one part of the game where you have to kind of improvise some stuff, and it's really cool to see like players adjust and kind of like figure out what they need to do on the fly.
Yep, absolutely. Pretty impressed right now by Mickeynow. Again, had that 46.18 PB, but so far faster than Realtyz with that 41.55 PB and Briguy with the 42.53. And I wouldn't say that either of them have had a bad race. I think Mickey might have just been grinding this a ton in preparation for this. Maybe his PB is actually better than what's on speedrun.com. It's the only thing I can think. Either that or just been grinding, ILs or something. Very impressed with his time right now.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if the PB were a little bit out of date. I think I saw on speedrun.com that it was like a couple months old at this point. So
if that's a couple months old, then I don't know if I would trust that then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think we're seeing like a 46 player right now.
No, definitely not. He's playing with a low 40s skill range, if not below that. Yeah, 3 of our runners here on Chapter 6 Reflection got these feathers that you're seeing them use. Those have 360-degree movement. One of the few things in the game that does. One thing to note there is a lot of runners who use a controller and D-pad will actually move to an analog stick if they can for that, since it just gives you more precise movement compared to your digital inputs. Warm Ham here coming up on search skip. If he can get that first try, I'm sure that'll benefit him a lot. And he does. Very nice.
Alright, so Mickeynow over here in Chapter 6, he's coming up on one of the developer-intended skips, because there's this long section with like all these buffers that you can see around where you have to navigate it, but if you're really precise with your movements, you can kind of sneak through the middle like Mickeynow just did there on the first try.
Yep. The one thing to note about this room is there are diverging paths. Realtyz going into this room, which is that's not necessarily recommended. Maybe that's the path that he likes to do, which is, the way that you personally get through it is always the fastest way, even if it's not what other players are the fastest. So going through that room with 2 bumpers and a few buttons, but that's generally not recommended as the path. But he got through that pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's all about what strategies you're comfortable with and what strategies you want to pursue. But there's not really a lot of room for divergence on the battle line fight, which Mickeynow is in, where one of the main strategies is just don't die. These are some of the longest rooms in the game, and if taking a death, especially later in any of these rooms, is kind of a big punishment.
Yep, absolutely. Warm Ham actually doing a fairly good job in this Theo section. Let's see if we can get this. Does not get that little the speed boost for that. I guess we'll call it a skip there, but gets through it cleanly. So it looks like Realtyz and Briguy are just about to join Mickey in the Battlein section. Realtyz there going for a boost there to basically dash right into that Battlein skip cutscene, but just narrowly misses it.
Yeah, it looks like Briguy went for it too, but he kind of clipped a corner there.
It's a tough one to not clip. It's one that if you don't get it, you lose not that much time, so it's not that big of a deal. But at the same time, it is one of the coolest looking skips in the run, in my opinion.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You just run at battle line with incredible speed. It's just really cool to see someone get.
Yep. And Warm Ham here on the eyeball room of Chapter 5, so he's finishing it up. Realtyz probably has this race. Should be his to win. But at the same time, Wormham really trying to get that sub 50 here today. We'll see if he can get that. He's on a pace to do it, but he's going to have a good Chapter 6. Realtyz going pretty clean through this battle line section. Like RD said, one of the more important things, yeah, you want to go fast, but you want to limit your deaths as much as possible, since, especially at the end of these rooms, you know, a death, it's going to set you back 10 seconds, even if you're using the fastest strats that you can do.
And meanwhile, Mickeynow on the last screen of the battle line fight timed that jump perfectly to just float above that laser, and he is through.
And just a reminder, if maybe you tuned in the middle, so this is technically 2 separate races. This is a 4-way race. It unofficially is, but for this tournament, we're in the group stage. It is the top race versus Briguy and Mickeynow, and then the bottom one is Realtyz and Wormham. So even though we actually got a pretty interesting unofficial race here with Briguy, Mickey, and Realtyz, technically not all 3 of them are racing. Only the top 2 runners and bottom 2.
Yeah, and given that Briguy Mickeynow is an official race, there's actually still kind of time for Briguy to catch up here. Like, he's in the remix section of the battle line fight, whereas Mickeynow is starting the summit. So there's plenty of tough screens in summit, plenty of time for maybe Mickeynow gets caught on something and Briguy can catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. Summit is the hardest section in the game. At least, if you don't think it's the hardest, it's at least close to the hardest. And there's a lot of time that you can just lose from it. So if Mickey plays cleanly, he should be able to pull this out, but you can never guarantee getting through Summit cleanly.
Yeah, and I noticed Mickeynow's timer was red at the end of Reflection, so I'm not sure if we have any PB potential, but we still have very solid run potential from him right now.
Yeah, if his timer was red, it pretty much confirms that his PB is much better than that 46 that maybe we thought at the beginning of it. So. And Wormham here making his way through Chapter 6. Looks like, I don't know if he missed up a dash there. Looked like he was going to go to the bottom, then decided no. Top route is what I'm going to do. So, probably for the best. Personally a fan of that top route.
So, Briguy accidentally, on the menu, you can, so when you enter a cutscene, you can skip the cutscene, but when you're not about to enter a cutscene, when you hit this pause menu, that button is the retry button. So Brian got to battle line, thought he was going to hit cutscene skip, but hit retry, but luckily that's the least punishing screen possible because it does put it next to battle line.
Yeah, definitely. There's some real tough ones, especially as we get to this beginning of Summit. There's just areas of it right before you're going to the next section in Summit. You're going to want to skip cutscene. Those rooms are very infuriating if you accidentally retry because they're like 15-second rooms. You just have to go through for basically no reason.
Yeah, I think there was a race very recently where someone retried in the last room of 2,500 meters instead of skipping the cutscene and ended up losing by a little over 15 seconds.
Yeah, it was, I believe that was YP versus somebody, but it was very, yeah. It's one of those where you do it and you can lose a ton of time, so.
Yeah, that was YP Renubris, yeah, and
yep,
YP
that's who it was.
Upset.
So Wormham here going for the riskier strat for that skip, gets it first try. It's just riskier because if you mess up without going, that room technically has a checkpoint in the middle, but if you do the full skip, you're not going to get that checkpoint. So Wormham going and getting for it. doing that strat does save about 5 seconds over the normal one, or the safer checkpoint skip, and saves, I think, about 10 seconds overall.
Yeah, meanwhile, Mickeynow onto the 1500 meter segment of Summit, which is the remix of the Celestial Resort Hotel level. So it's a return of the Dust Bunnies, and we're on a couple of rooms that are super long with these super tight cycles, and we've already seen Mickey kind of mess up his strat a little bit here, but he looks to be going through. Yeah, had to take it safe at the end there, but taking it safe is faster than dying.
Yeah, at least for me personally, this 1500 meter section can just absolutely kill runs, so good to see him get through one of those longer rooms that can just absolutely kill a run. But Realtyz not far behind him in this sort of unofficial race. He's finishing up the 2,000 meters as he finishes up the 1,500 meters, so just about a minute behind usually. And actually there's a bit of a gap between their in-game time, so Realtyz and Mickeynow might actually be pretty close. Again, that race is unofficial, not actually part of the tournament races, but still.
Yeah, we have 4 players on screen. You know, it's natural to want to compare like all of them to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So Realtyz getting through that first very long room of 1,500 meters. Here's the second very long room. Looks like there maybe he expected to have hit that button, but didn't. Tried to go for a hyper there. Just didn't work out. This room can be very tough. Wormham there having a little bit of trouble getting that feather. Fortunately caused the death.
And meanwhile, Mickeynow, last screen of 2000 meter, and you can kind of see him going for a really interesting optimization where after Battle Line throws you, there's like a little animation where you kind of hover in the air for a second. You can actually cancel that animation by dashing, and you saw him like kind of hit dash immediately after Battle Line throws him to kind of get to where he's going faster. So that was kind of interesting there.
Yep, definitely one of those small time optimizations that you see all over this run. As Wormham there still making his way through Battle Line, having a little bit of a rough time. It can be one of those sections that can just cause a lot of deaths, a lot of frustration. Very difficult until you get those rooms sort of mastered. Mickeynow there getting that key skip. 2 consecutive spike jumps can be very tough. There's a way to set it up to make it easier by binding 2 buttons to jump. Not sure if that's what Mickeynow was doing, but very tough skip. This whole 2,500 meter section has a few really interesting skips that I'd love to see, like this one right here. Gets it second try. Wormham here on the remix version of Battle Line. So again, he was going for that 48. It looks like for this one it might be tough for him to get that on this run. Just having a tough time on this chapter 6, unfortunately. But Realtyz moving through Summit pretty well.
Mickeynow went for the door skip, which, you know, solid work.
Absolutely. You know, the door skip potentially loses a second, but I know for me it actually saves like 40 seconds because door skip just, I can never get it without doing it like 4 times.
Exactly, yeah. Like, again, spike lives forever, but sometimes you gotta know your limits.
Exactly. For top runners, it doesn't seem like it's honestly that difficult of a skip. But at the same time, you're talking about literally saving about 1 second when you're at the very near the end of the run, and maybe you're on PB pace. Like, it's not going to save your run, but it can definitely hurt your run. So until recently, a lot of the top runners might not have gone for it. So
Alright, so Mickeynow is in the last segment of Summit, the 3,000 meter. So right now he's dealing with the downdraft, which kind of like increases the gravity. So you can kind of see that he's making like a lot of like inputs, just like, you know, jumping really fast, moving really fast, just because like he has to counteract this downdraft that's kind of forcing him down.
yeah, it can definitely throw you off because you're just the whole game you're used to a certain type of movement, and then the game just changes it up with that wind. So Realtyz earlier there got that key skip. I believe that was first try. Maybe I missed it, but still pretty good. As Wormham there finishing up Chapter 6. He's going to go into Summit about 38 minutes. So still could PB. That's if his PB is a 51:28, that would be about a 13-minute Summit, which is possible, but really just going to have to see. Realtyz going and getting the door skip. Very nice. So Realtyz, they're going to join Mickeynow on this the 3,000 meter section. Seems like Mickey is making really good pace of this.
Yeah, absolutely. He's dealing with like the floaty or updraft mechanic really well in this part of the chapter.
He's on, I believe this is flag 10 coming up, and he just has made some small mistakes, but, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if he's gotten really any major deaths so far.
Yeah, no, it looked like he got through the 2 treble flags, 13, 14, 13, pretty cleanly. So, yeah, that was a very solid updraft section here.
Yeah, looks like he could sub 40 if he just gets through those top sections cleanly, but those ones can be very long, so he would really have to book through those.
Yeah, definitely would be tight. He's going to have about a minute for that section, so we'll see. We'll
In reality, he's finishing the downdraft section here. He's not doing bad himself.
Okay, so Mickeynow.
Very tough. Oh man.
All I had to say was his name. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah, I don't know if you can get through flag 1 in less than 10 seconds, but was very close to that sub fort. He's still green. This might be, ooh, that's a very tough death there. That might be a PB, but I think that he missed a sub 40 PB by just that last dash. That is a very good run for him, but I'm sure that they'll be a little bit frustrated about that death as Realtyz here, flag 11, so he's winding down as well. Looks like he'll get the win on that one, but GG to Mickeynow.
Yeah, GG, really solid effort, but yeah, wow, that was about as close as you can get.
Yeah, for sure. 40, really just want to. A 40:03 is a very good time, but that sub 40 mark is, you know, a pretty awesome one to get. So I'm sure that there's probably a little bit of frustration for that final death there, but you know, at the end of the day, they did get that win. So good run by Mickeynow getting that win. Realtyz here on, I believe this is flag 6. It is. gets through it without any issue. His PB is a 41.55, so that actually is well in the cards right now. So that'll be interesting to watch. Remember, it's a 41.55, so he's got more than a minute to get through these final 3 flags. Oh, sort of messes up that one. That's tough, not a big deal. Just got right underneath that block.
Yeah, these last few flags, like, especially if you know what pace you're on, you're just kind of like looking at the clock. This is some of the most precise platforming like in the whole game. So it's a rough combination of like, difficult, like high degree of difficulty and nerves getting to you at this point of the run.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're not even necessarily the toughest flags, although flag 2 is, arguably one of them. But when you are, trying to go as fast as you can, you could take some deaths, and then a flag 1 death there. He should get below that 41.55 here, barring another mistake, but we'll see. Yeah, 41.39 might be a 41.40. Let's see. Yep, 41.39, so very great race for him. He's going to get that win over Warmham. He's in that 1,500 meter section. One of the tougher sections of this game, so let's see if he can get through it. And it looks like Briguy here finishing it up about halfway through the 3,000 meter section. Looks like Briguy there, death at the very end of this flag 13. It's one of these jumps where it's not necessarily one of the more precise ones. It has a pretty decent setup to get it each time, but it's just very, very easy to die on. So it can be one of those frustrating flags, especially with how long flag 13 is. But he's going to get through it that time, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. You just get a lot of opportunity to psych you out. Like, it's kind of underrated, the mental aspect of Celeste runs, because there's no RNG in this game, which is both good and bad. It's good because you don't get like half an hour deep into a run and have the game just decide, nope, you don't get to be good today. But it's also kind of frustrating because like every death kind of feels like your fault. Yeah, like it's all on you.
Yeah, exactly. When I have a game with RNG, I might still be plus 1 minute going into the RNG section, but I still blame the RNG for the whole run. But in this, nowhere you can really do that.
Yeah, exactly. So like if you're just making tiny mistakes, like that can kind of really affect you. You can kind of just start making more mistakes just because of that. So, your ability to recover is as important as your ability to make these like really tight jumps.
Yeah, absolutely.
So switching audio over to Warmham over on the 2000 meter section.
Yeah, he's had a little trouble on these, but not too bad. We'll see how he finishes up. Again, PB 51.28, so maybe we'll see it. I believe, already seen 2 PBs. We'll have to confirm that with both of the runners. Mickeynow seemed, his was an actual timer, so his seemed like it was green at the end of that run, but you're never sure. Yeah, if either of them want to step in for an interview as well, feel free to step in. But Briguy here finishing up.
And even if that's not a PB for Realtyz, like getting like 16 seconds under an old PB in a race setting, that's a mark of an improved player. So that's really cool to see from him, even if it's not a PB.
Yeah, absolutely. That 41 time range seems to be, at least for some groups, enough to get through. If you're going to consistently get 41s, you can go to the bracket stage, whether it be as a 4th seed or a 3rd seed. So that's a really good time. Briguy there finishing up with a 45-41. Not sure if they're going to be the happiest with this run, but all in all was pretty decent on a few seconds. Just had it looked like a few of those were tripped up, lost them a good amount of time, and Mickeynow having a great race of his own. So was going to be able to pull through. Yeah, Wormham going into the 2,500 meter section. Going to be interesting to see what skips he goes for, if he's going to go for a key skip. As we got Briguy coming in. Briguy,
Hello.
how'd you feel about your run?
Not great, but it happened. I had a real sloppy early game and real sloppy summit, but
yeah, I know you had
chapter
that
5.
death right away, first screen of prologue. Did that maybe affect your nerves a little bit, or?
Really? So I was honestly just confused with the speed racing TV timer. It like counted down, but the timer started before it said go, and I was really confused, and that just threw me off. So I was
luckily,
half watching that, but it's like a 2-second death, right? It's not a big deal.
Yeah. No, definitely, yeah. So, which sections do you think that you did well on this one?
Chapter 5 was pretty solid, and my first half of Chapter 6 up to Battle-In was like really good for me.
Yeah, it looked like you were closing in there. Mickey sort of had the lead sort of throughout after Chapter 1 and on, and it looked like maybe we were going to have a really tight race, but he was able to pull away. Mickey had a 40.03, which we're pretty sure is a PB from him. So yeah,
awesome.
Some tough competition. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if he's gonna beat my PB by like over 2.5 minutes in a race, there's like, I just gotta play my best, right? That's gonna be tough. Like, there's no way I'm beating that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wormham here finishing up 2,500 meter. So again, his PB's a 41.55. So him going into 3,000 meters at 48.44, that's 3 minutes to get through it. It's possible, but at that level, generally this 3,000 meter section will take about 4.5 minutes. So not sure, but we'll see. We got Mickeynow here joining us here for an interview. Mickey, how'd you feel about that? Was a PB, correct?
Yeah, that was.
Congrats on that. How do you feel about that race overall? I mean, it's a PB, so I'm sure you're probably happy, but how'd you feel?
Well, actually, it's like 1.7 seconds PB, so it's really not much.
Gotcha.
Although I'm pretty happy with how it went overall. Some segments were sloppier than my PB, like my reflection and my tempo were pretty bad. But I'm happy with everything else, to be honest.
Okay, good. Yeah, we weren't entirely sure what the PB was, because even on speedrun.com it was like 46.18, and we were probably like halfway through this race, like we're definitely sure that can't be accurate, because you're just on an insane pace for that one. But yeah, we also have Realtyz joining. It looks like maybe their mic's muted, so we'll see them come in. But
it's more like me and Mickey were like in the same room, so I'm gonna mute my mic because we can hear both of us. Not right?
Oh yeah, I think I saw that in Discord. So you and Mickeynow were in the same room racing?
Yeah. Well, both in the same room, so it's gonna be hard, I think, to each other. My mic is gonna reach this sound, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting some echo on my hand, so I'm gonna try not to talk much.
Yeah. So, Mickey. So I know that I believe it was the very last dash of Flag 2. I think you had a death on that. Was that a little bit frustrating, especially you were on PB pace, or how'd you feel about that one?
I don't specifically remember, but yeah. Well, I'm getting pretty nervous towards the end of Summit, as I'm pretty sure that happens with every other runner.
Definitely.
So yeah, I didn't feel too good about that one, but I'm pretty happy with how Summit went still.
Yeah, definitely. And getting that, getting a near sub 40 in a tournament is, that's got to feel pretty good. So, I believe that was your first win, correct? And you got 4 or 5. How many more matches do you have to come up?
That is my second win, actually. And I think I have 3 matches left, including my race against TGH in about an hour and a half.
Well, good luck on that one. You'll need it. Maybe you can, summon some energy, get an insane run, pull off one of the biggest upsets of the tournament. But yeah, good luck on that one.
Yeah, pretty sure that's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna try to do my best and get another PB, perhaps
Absolutely.
sub 40.
Yep, that's really all you can do. So, but yeah, good luck on that one.
Thank you.
Wormham here finishing up. He's on flag 12 here, so his PB is not going to happen today, or at least during this run. But overall, we saw some solid strats there by Wormham. Just sections of it, as what happens to newer runners, where you just get sort of trapped and maybe reset a few too many times. So, Realtyz, do you have any upcoming races or anything else going for this? I think that you're in a...
I got 2 more races Monday. One against Go Weekend, I think, something like that. Is the best one in my seed, and also I have to run also sneaky with around the same. You have around the same time, I think, so gonna be a fun race to watch.
Yeah, definitely, and good luck on those ones. It looks like it's a fairly open race there for that 4th seed. So good luck. Hopefully you can get some wins and head on to that bracket stage. So those really, if anyone watching for Realtyz there, I think that all of these his matches will probably be pretty important. See if he can get some wins in there. Maybe get into that 4th seed, get into the brackets.
Yeah, also 2 of my 3 loss was around like 5 to 3 seconds behind the other guys.
Oh, so they were close losses. That's a little bit rough, but
yeah.
Hopefully those next ones will get you better. If you can just get a few wins, you can sneak into that to that section. Not sure. Oh, okay. Wormham there had a confusing death. He was going for a reverse hyper there. I haven't seen that one before, so I was sort of unsure why he got killed by those spikes to the right of him. But he's going to be finishing up here on flag 1, about a 55 minute, just above that. So a decent time for a newer runner, but I'm not sure if he'll be thrilled with the result of the race. Looks like they're taking a little bit of the a self-inflicted death there. Probably a little bit unhappy with that flag 1 death, knowing that he already lost the race and not on a PB pace, just deciding to have a little fun.
Yeah, no, I respect that. That's, you got to take out your frustration somehow. Might as well just throw the character off a cliff.
Yeah. Wormham going with a save and quit there, but that doesn't... I mean, I think that... No, okay, it does go to epilogue, so you can just save and quit. I think that's fine. But I don't know. I'm not an expert. He finishes up. He's got a 55:37. Very good race for him, or not very good, I guess, but finishes that up. Had some very good sections of that race for sure. But then other ones, like we saw on that flag one, where it was just, man, a little bit tough. But we'll see if Wormham wants to come in for an interview himself. But yeah, Briguy, anything else you want to say about your run?
I think you just about covered it. Yeah, I've got a bunch more races this weekend, so hopefully I can.
Yeah. When's your next race?
Tonight, it's like 1:30 a.m. Eastern. So, and then 2 more tomorrow.
All right. Well, good luck on those. I know that if you can, get a few more wins, you're definitely not out of contention for those bracket stages. So really, again, that whole group, if you have you just got to try to win out, and it's going to be an exciting race there for that 4th seed in that group with Briguy and Realtyz. Finishes that up. Had some very good sections of that race for sure. But then other ones, like we saw on that flag one, where it was just, man, a little bit tough. Yeah, let me see. I already asked you. Mickey, anything else you want to say about your run? Yeah. Anything else you want to say about your run?
Not much really, except for maybe the fact that like an hour before the race started, my R2 button on my Xbox One controller gave up. Like it started getting stuck, so I had to switch to R1, which kind of messed up my muscle memory in some parts. Like it's very minimal, but still kind of noticeable at times.
No, I mean, sometimes I'll try to move to a different controller type, like even if it's slightly a different layout, it just, your muscle memory just gets a little bit messed up. So still able to PB by, you said like a second or so. So still that, props to not having that mess up your run.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy for that, at least.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, good luck on your upcoming ones. Yeah, Realtyz, anything else you wanted to say about your run? About that race overall, I mean, it's a PB, so you're probably happy.
Not really. Everything
Well, actually, it's
goes
like,
really well.
1.7 seconds
I
PB,
think.
so it's
Also,
really not much.
one thing I got
So
the door skip
pretty
first
happy
try,
with
so
how it went
I'm happy for that.
overall.
Yeah, GG on that. Saw that. Impressive. Got to get that door skip, for the fans. Just sections of it. Is what happens to new. GG there. Thanks RD for co-commentating with me. Some wins in there. You were great. Maybe get into that. And thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, thank you for the commentary. And hey, if you're interested in watching more of the Celeste tournament, we have another race coming up on this channel at I think coming up at 2:30. So after this, and yep, as Shredberg just threw in the chat, feel free to follow the runners and follow the game. It's a very interesting game, and obviously the runners have been working very hard to provide entertainment. They're always practicing, always running. So if you're looking for more Celeste content, those are the 4 links you want to click.
Yeah, definitely give them a follow. They put on a great show today, and I'm sure they put on great shows on their solo streams as well. So that's going to just about do it for us. Briguy, Mickey, Realtyz, thanks for coming in for the interview. GG's on the runs. That's going to do it for us. Yeah, RD, again, thanks for co-commentating. And stick around, because in just a little bit more than 20 minutes, we're going to see another exciting race.
All right, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Great, that's going to just about do it. So have a good one, everyone.